You are listening to Shameless Stories, and I'm Nicola Humber, founder of the Unbound Press, soul-led publishing company for magical women writing world-changing books. And we are delighted to be the sponsor of this podcast. So enjoy, magical one.
Welcome to another episode of Shameless Stories. I think this is actually, I thought it was a live stream then. I'm not sure. Well, if it is, brilliant. If it isn't, I'm fluffed. And you can tell I'm a little bit out of practice because I'm fresh off the stage of Mind, Body, Spirit Festival. And actually, I'm really excited to introduce to you my next guest, who was one of our speakers at the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival in November in Birmingham. Jo Dall is with me today. Hello, Jo.
Hello.
So as we were talking before we came on camera, Shameless Stories was born out of the idea of the stories that we tell ourselves that keep us stuck and small, and often it's in relation to the emotion of shame and the vibration of shame. And I actually wanted to just introduce you properly. So Jo is actually a kinesiologist and energy healer, and I know there's a story behind that. So do tell me why and how you became a kinesiologist, because I feel like there's a reason why. Am I right?
Yeah, there's always a reason why, isn't there? And you're just, with a lot of healers, there is a reason why we walk this path. And I think for me, it was spending a lot of my teenage years, my early 20s, seeking and searching for something that helped me to feel better, that stopped me from feeling like I wasn't good enough or I didn't fit in. And so I explored aromatherapy, and then I did a little bit of massage, and then I would explore anatomy and physiology, and all the time I would perhaps go for hypnotherapy or counselling or just something that would just kind of give me some answers, I think. And I stumbled across kinesiology when I was in my late 30s, because I had a physical problem that they couldn't get to the bottom of, and I had to have blood tests every week, and I became phobic against needles, and somebody said, why don't you try kinesiology? And as most people do, when you say kinesiology, they say what, as I did, what? And I went for treatments, and it blew my mind. And that's how I got into kinesiology.
It's such a powerful modality, isn't it? I've also experienced kinesiology, and I had no idea that the body, well, it makes complete sense actually when you explore it, that the body keeps score effectively. The body absorbs energy, and what you consume is effectively what is probably the root cause of a lot of our issues.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the reason that I started all of this exploration was because I was adopted. So from the age of 6 weeks, I was adopted with my mother and father, who were the best parents I could have ever had. But obviously during being in the womb and that first 6 weeks of my life, I was on my own for that 6 weeks, completely on my own. And from that early age, patterns get set up from the womb and beyond, where, what was wrong with me? Why? The questions of the why. Wasn't I good enough? Fear of rejection, all of those things. And I know that they do tie into a shame within me, because I would go into situations and be devastated if somebody didn't talk to me, or they suddenly perhaps defriended me, sorry, you know what I mean? So shame is a word that's quite a big word, but it covers a lot of different aspects, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I think I held that, the energy of that, in all sorts of other emotional fears, dysfunctions, I suppose, detachments. And that's what led me to explore trying to heal myself first and foremost.
When did that all start to really land for you, though? I mean, you said you had some physical issues in your 30s, but was it present throughout your childhood and into your kind of 20s? Was it something that was like, you were clearly aware that you were adopted? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. From about the age of 4, I think I was told, and I can't imagine as an adult what a 4-year-old would have felt like. But suddenly to find out that your world, your mum and dad, aren't your mum and dad, and as a 4-year-old to try and get your head around the fact that they took you in a way to look after you, but somebody else gave you away. There was an element. There must have been an element at that point of trauma.
Yeah.
To have had that. And throughout my whole childhood, teenage years, I struggled with people massively, friendships, massive problems, because I was hypersensitive. I guess always trying to work out where I stood with people, how they were reacting towards me, what had I done wrong. That was a biggie. What have I done wrong? When people started to react differently towards me. And I think in those formative years, it was devastating. I spent my whole life not really wanting to mix with other children, teenagers, because I just found it so difficult, really. And then over time, it did manifest itself possibly into a physical ailment, which was a problem, a dysfunction with my liver, which is all about anger and frustration. And I never did express anger or frustration, but obviously there was that element there throughout those formative years. But I would never express it. I would probably burst into tears instead of showing my anger.
That just can't really kind of find the words, because what you're describing is, I think, so present for so many people. I'm not saying we've all been adopted or anything, but that whole not knowing what to say or what you've done wrong, I've picked that up whenever I've spoken to energy healers or sensitives. It's a thing, isn't it? It's something that we constantly pick up on other people's energy, but we can't, what they're saying and what their energetic signature is often can be two different things, and it's very confusing for a sensitive.
Yes.
And yeah, when you said that, I was like, oh my God, the same. So I'm sure there's other people listening as well that will probably resonate with that. I also find it fascinating that your ailment manifested in the liver around the anger piece, because there wouldn't have been an outlet to express that frustration, that something had happened, that this had happened to you. And as a 4-year-old or a young child who is sensitive, possibly you just can't compute why that's happened. It's really hard for that understanding to get to. Yeah.
And also the expression isn't there. One doesn't have the words to go, actually, how you've just behaved has made me feel really angry, because one doesn't have that ability to articulate what's going on. And so what I would do, because I was quite shy as well, is I would internalize, probably. Internalize. And when we do internalize any kind of big emotions, then they tend to manifest themselves in dis-ease within the physical body or the mental body, don't they? And so I think that over time that's perhaps what had happened, that there was no, like you said, no outlet for that. And it just got internalized with me because I didn't know what to do with it or how to deal with it.
Paul, I just want to hug little Joe. It's like, oh. But, with these stories, there's always not a happy ending, but there's always the transformation that arrives when we find a different path to heal. And just going back to the work that you do now and like how you help other people is, I'm guessing kinesiology probably wasn't that well known up until a few years ago. And typically, how do people find you? Are they in a similar situation? Is it the body is just they're going through the mainstream route but just not finding answers? How do people find or utilize a kinesiologist?
So I think people tend to come to me when they've tried other things but nothing seems to be working. Different modalities, different self-help tools, there's so many out there for us to access ourselves now. But when that's not enough, or when they've done a certain amount of healing themselves, but they know that there's more, there's a deeper layer that they can't reach, that's when people tend to come to me. And it's as if their body brings them to me because their body is calling them to heal at that deeper level. And so they arrive at my door with whatever's going on, but it isn't often the reason why they've come. But by tapping into that innate inner voice, that innate inner wisdom within, the body then can go, I've got somebody to listen to me now.
Yeah.
I can share what needs to be released or healed or balanced. And so, people tend to come to me when they've tried other things. And that could be the medical routes. It could be a combination of complementary or medical. It could be self-help and complementary. But when they can't quite reach it, it's like the corners of the jigsaw are empty, but they filled in all the rest of the jigsaw. Then they come to me to put the corners in so that the picture's complete.
But we all know that the best thing to do with a jigsaw is to start with the edges, isn't it?
Yeah. But we don't do that with ourselves. We start with the middle bit, don't we?
100%. That's the best analogy, I think, as well, of self-care, in that we often wait until something drastic happens for us to seek somebody out like yourself. And kinesiology and energy healing are things that we could probably do when we're healthy, in inverted commas, for those of you listening. We don't often start with the edges. We always start with the bit that's causing the problem or the easy bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think with a lot of energy healers, our jobs would be so much easier if people came to us when they were feeling really great. If they came and they said, I'm feeling really great, but I want to feel even better. Wow, we could take people beyond the moon and back, you know what I mean? To reach the stars. But often people come because there is dis-ease, disassociation with the physical, emotional and spiritual body. And then we have to start the healing first before we can help them to reach that true potential that we know that they've got within them.
Yeah, absolutely. We've kind of already touched on your relationship with shame, but do you have any thoughts around living shamelessly? Do you have any thoughts on the word? Some people come on here and they're like, ugh, but...
think it's a word that it's an emotion, isn't it, that a lot of people feel. So many people feel it but don't recognise it, or actually maybe acknowledge or associate with it. But I think one of the things that I would say here, Sarah, is to live free from shame, free from worry, free from anxiety, which can all be associated emotions with shame. I would recommend it to anybody because it's liberating, it's freeing, it's exciting, it's peaceful. And you know, we don't get to that place unless we choose, big word, choose, to reflect inwardly as to what we need to do or heal or release. But through doing work and allowing the balance, the healing, the releasing to happen, then you do step into that shameless space, and suddenly it feels like you've totally aligned with the person you're meant to be, and it is joyful. Now, we're all human on this earth, unfortunately, so we do have things that knock us sideways occasionally, but the more work we do energetically, the quicker we are able to bring ourselves back into balance, and the things that are the external influences don't tend to floor us as much when we have done that. So I would definitely recommend to anybody to step into the shameless gang because it is just such a joy to be in, and and it leaves you with a heart full instead of a heavy heart. I think that's what I would say.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just so grateful that the world is evolving and there's more language around this, and you know, our young people are, you know, being taught about this. We were never taught about it, I think, our generation, and that's what I think that's what the call to action was we need to speak about this stuff, because the more we can let go of it, the more empowered we make other people around us. You actually made a lovely point before we came on, that the intention that you have with the work that you do is to heal the world around you, but it starts with healing the individual first, and like even that's changing a world, isn't it? I always love that analogy, in that, you know, sharing one story could change someone's life. You were there at the Mind Body Spirit tent. We had a couple of speakers, and those of us that had conversations with the people that sat and listened, just hearing other people making a different choice, or choosing left instead of right, or going to a kinesiologist instead of an NHS doctor, has changed their lives and changed their world for the better. And I just find it so powerful that the power behind the stories that we share. And
I use this analogy a lot, Sarah, and it's, if we take time to keep our candle lit, then we can light other people's candles from our own. But if our candle is out, then we can't keep giving to others without it having a detrimental effect at some point on our own physical, emotional and spiritual body. And so, you know, the more information we can give people about all of these different modalities, and there's amazing modalities out there, we're all here to help, but the more information we can give people, the more they hear what we are saying, the more choice they've got as to what they would like to do. And it might be to go down both avenues, that they may need some medical intervention but they want some support through complementary or alternative. It might be that they choose to walk a different route. But the more informed people are, then the more informed choices they can make for their own health and well-being, and they can take back that onus of responsibility for what they want to do. And that is when I see the ripple effects happening in the world, where we're starting to make a difference to people's lives.
Love that. How long have you been a kinesiologist, out of interest?
22 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And it's a modality that's not really talked about at length, is it?
No. And yet, through muscle testing, the body cannot lie. You know, the body cannot lie. So even though somebody might come for a treatment and tell me what they want me to hear, when I get them on the couch and balance their bodies and ask their body what's going on, the body cannot lie. I'll give a little cheaty story away here. When my girlies were little, and they used to come up with some stories sometimes, I used to say, right, let's get you on the couch and let's test your body. No mummy, no mummy, no mummy. And the truth used to come out. The best lie detector ever, I tell you. Muscle testing. Let's do it.
Really? What sorts of things were you testing? I'm intrigued now.
What, testing the body?
Yeah. What were you asking the body?
Oh gosh, we could ask the body anything. Anything.
Really?
At all. Yeah, anything. Do you like this? Do you like that to eat? Is that serving you? Is it supporting you? Is there a problem somewhere in one of your chakra systems? Is there a problem with an organ? Is there a problem with your aura? Is it physical, emotional, or spiritual? Where do we need to be looking? What age do we need to be looking at? So, I mean, it can be so specific that I could go, right, well, this problem was set up when you were 7 years, 2 months, and 3 days old. So what happened around that time? And people just go, because they cannot believe that their body has been so specific as to when something was set up.
Wow.
The body is so incredible, and yet we, in this day and age, we don't listen to what our bodies are telling us. And yet if we did, wow, you know, we would be in a different place. So instead they come and see me and I do it for them.
Well, that's very powerful. I mean, I'm just thinking about back to a time when I was in my corporate job. I'd been Reiki attuned, and the energy, everything was open. I was like, wow, I can see things I didn't see before. But I remember at the time I was getting vertigo, quite severe vertigo. And that's the thing, that I just felt like I wanted to leave my body. It was really, really bizarre. And I'm sitting here thinking, I wish I'd known you, because then I might have actually figured out what the hell that was. But I now know hindsight's a wonderful thing, because I had vertigo and I had horrendous back pain. And I just remember it was just, well, my body is basically trying to stop me from continuing at the pace I'm going.
Yeah.
And I wasn't listening, because I think we're trained. I think we are taught to stop, to not listen to our bodies. I think we are trained to place our power in a doctor's hands. And I think what we're also realizing, so many of us, is that they don't always have all the answers. And that's why it's up to us to, as you said quite rightly, there is so much choice available to us now. There are so many ways and means to look after ourselves. We don't all need to just go to the doctor who, you know, back in the day, I remember being in with my mum and they'd say, oh, yes, ladies' problems, just, yes, go away. It's kind of, well, like, and that just says it all, really, to be honest. I know things have evolved a little bit, but I still feel I'm grateful for the holistic choice that we have.
Yeah, definitely. And to look at that whole, you know, everything's intertwined always, isn't it? The physical affects the emotional, affects our spirit. You know, we become dispirited when all of those things affect us. But when we become dispirited, that can affect our energy levels, that can affect our demeanour, that can affect our physical body. So everything's so interlinked that to just deal with one aspect, we might be missing something that could help the healing process so much quicker. And so, you know, really, I would recommend to anybody who is not feeling quite right, feeling a little bit discombobulated or out of balance or unwell, please don't not explore. That's a double negative. I shouldn't do that, I know. Please do explore looking at the whole, because that's where the answers may be. And if you don't know where to go with that, come and lie on my couch and I'll test you to give you a clue as to what to do next.
That's amazing. I was going to say, have you got any words of wisdom that you'd like to leave behind? But I mean, that sounded amazing. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the listeners?
I think what I would say to anybody is, you know, we don't always understand energy, but energy is so important to our whole being. And if our energy is out of balance, if our energy is depleted, then that is going to really affect any healing process, and also how we approach any healing process. So if we come at anything, any disorder or dis-ease, from an energetic, balanced place, then it gives us that solid foundation to have the strength to make the choices that are best for us. And so I think with anything that anybody may have within, I'm doing double negatives again, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Do include your energy in the whole mix.
Yeah.
Because even if the physical body is out of balance or unwell, if your energy is in balance, you have that perspective and clarity that gives you the strength to then approach things with a different mindset, a different spirit, a different different way of approaching everything. So just really acknowledge that energy is really important in any healing process, and I think that that's what I would say to the listeners right now.
Amazing. Where can people find you if they want to come and get on your couch?
Well, if they'd like to come and lie on my couch in person, then I'm based near Matlock in Derbyshire, and I've got a very lovely space here that I work from, and my couch is so comfortable that often I have to ask people to leave. Sorry guys. It is so comfy and warm that I have to kind of say to them it's time to go home now. However, this does work remotely brilliantly, and so I do have clients not only all over the country but also all over the world. And so, you know, energy we can work with anywhere. So yes, I can share the details with you later so that people know how to get hold of me if they would like to.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and some of your amazing work that you do with bodies. I suspect, well, yeah, I'm already thinking I need to give you a shout. But thank you again, everybody, for listening to Shameless Stories. We will be back with another episode very soon. I'm super, thank you again for joining me today, Jo. It's been a real pleasure having you on. And you can catch us in all the places, and I will share Jo's website and how to contact her in the show notes. So thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.